When I first arrived, I felt all the difficulty with the language and even a loss of enchantment. This is crystal clear. It's not only the impression that something should be bigger or more intense. You realize it's kind of the contrary of the idea that the movies are a true relationship with something that happened. You feel unable to find reality where you should be.
By that time, what we need to know.
Well, I first showed the transcription, obviously translated, of a Skype conversation with my mom, in which she was trying to tell me that she had a serious health condition. This was severely criticized by peers and professors. It was considered inconsistent and even naive for showing a difference in condition as a foreigner, appealing to a family trauma. It was very painful because I took emotional risks and bet it all in the wrong game. Too fragile, personal for any purpose. To give you a clue, they were dealing with works, like this of an ex-student whose boyfriend committed an assisted suicide. She gathered images, documents, and exposed that as her final assignment. Or that of another girl who was invited to take part in an exhibition at the Tate Modern. She self-induced 8 or 9 abortive processes during the course.
When did things start to change?
I'm not sure about change. Yet, I was absent probably for 2 weeks before I came to class. I looked for counseling and started to go to the gym sauna because that was the only place I felt at ease. It was a habit of mine prior to this trip. One day, I found myself there with one of the art school teachers and this girl wearing a swimsuit with this athletic logo. It was a Saturday, all very quiet, but it wasn't long until the teacher put an exaggerated amount of eucalyptus essence on the heater quite nervously while asking if any of us actually profit of the University Art Gallery collection. And I said I had just started a mentoring internship there. The other girl took more to mumble something like, I'm a swimmer, I know the environment, the water, all through my body, which seemed to raise even more the pressure in that wood cube. So the teacher suggested that being an athlete, and for that an exponent of the whole institution, was an excuse for indifference towards treasures of universal culture, of the whole institution, that all that was accessible a few feet away, such as one of the first representations of Christ ever made by mankind. And the girl, she came down from the bench and calmly took off her swimsuit until she was completely naked and prostrated in front of the teacher. After that, she said in a sharp way, "Person of little faith, why did you doubt? It is I." Nothing else.
Is this biblical?
Well, you see, it was only when I went back to the gallery to check the piece that I understood that the images were those of Jesus walking on water and one of the doubts of Peter the disciple.
This gave you the idea for the prospect work.
It's really more than an idea. It's a whole gesture, you see. I was feeling helpless and I had to present something that could be at least qualified. 1 month later, 1 month after that, what they call Sex Week took place, when the adult entertainment industry guys come to campus and share their experiences with the academic community. It was actually an open event, and my roommate invited me for some lectures, thinking it would be good for me to unwind. After that, we went out for some drinks, and there was this talk at the bar about a typical movie scene, by the way, with a fanciful tone with the producer about the interest in a real student taking part in a porn movie.
I was thinking about Jeff Koons, the fact that Made in Heaven was probably in a museum by this stage. I mean, I know it wouldn't be right to talk about a story because it's more like a performance. But what happens on the video, you ended up presenting, right?
Well, I talked to my mother on Skype, and she tells me she had this serious health condition. All the conversation up here recorded and with subtitles. I would hang up, cry, get down to the kitchen to have some tea, almost stumble. My roommate arrives, notices my distress, and tries to comfort me. He says it was really difficult, that he also missed his family. He missed his family a lot and suffered for being a foreigner too. He would put on some music, a typical song from my country, and invite me to dance. Something rather romantic, with no cynicism whatsoever. From that moment on, the thing flows from the dance rhythm, slow, to that of the explicit sex, with no acting, no settings, nothing but the bodies.
And that was it?
Yes, that was all. I'll use an image for you. Once I read a short story by an Argentinian essayist who said that in his childhood, they used to sit on their hands, until they were numb, like this, until they're having this feel of masturbation, as if someone else was stimulating them. That'll be it, amplified to university, public dimension. Again, how does the foreigner behaves? You see, because of a lack of experience, experience, she starts to collect a memory, and then it starts a game of transitions because you lose a sense of chronology. Everything gets to the same level, and as you used to say here, it seems like it got beautiful enough, especially the ending.
What about your roommate? You said he was a foreigner.
Yes, he taught English to Russians. What do you want to know?
Did he actually take part in the video?
From the beginning, I had a question that the scene was made with him. The thing is, within the demands I was making, like the script I wrote and fully followed, the apparent randomness that precedes the intercourse, they convinced me that the male anatomy would be determinant much more than the female one for that purpose. I lost a lot of weight at that point, but he was apparently not that talented to compensate it.
And what about your mum?
Her part was also played by a professional.
But did she follow the reception? I mean, like the success of the work?
Well, my mom, when she noticed I was involved in a more complicated process, she stopped talking to me for a while. And she even sent me a letter with fragments she found on the internet. She says it was Einstein's. It's the opposite way. She copied by hand from the web, saying she didn't understand all that was written in English, but felt it had to do what I was going through. This is it. Can you read it?
With infinite lives, there is an infinite list of relatives. Grandparents never die. Nor grandparents, and so on. Back through the generations, all alive and giving advice. Sons never escape the shadow of their fathers, nor daughters of their mothers. Nobody ever comes into their own. This is Christopher Hitchens,
Is it? And his last expression comes into his own. I never understood it literally, but you can have an idea.
How the video ended up being exhibited in the prestigious gallery along with the other pieces of yours. I mean, how did that happen?
Well, the art dealer that was lecturing at the university watched the students' final presentations and invited me for a solo exhibition.
Nevertheless, you didn't take long to get back to your own country.
There was a debate that specific proposals could be hazardous to students' lives on the long run. But I wasn't already that young. What it presented involved a matter of copyright, not censorship. The parallel release on the internet didn't make a difference. It got diluted in an ocean of other videos. Nowadays, one might not even find it any longer. But it was an academic research financed by my country's government that I allowed to be commercialized in the art circuit. I didn't get money for the sex scene, but for the artwork. I was also supposed to come back here to apply the knowledge acquired abroad. There was a waiver in the visa.
What would you say you learned here?
I would say that I learned that the only real alternative for imposed narratives and movements you got everywhere, in and out the art world, is to give up your mind and body to the unpredictable, even if it seems like a nightmare. The external recognition will heal the pain for suspecting that what you achieved can attribute to your physique in some cases. Nor the absence of those who took part in the most critical enlightening. Puxa, bom, só para esse aqui de novo, porque eu não confundi. Okay. I would say that I learned that the only real alternative for imposed narratives and movements about everywhere, in and out the art world, is to give up your mind and body to the unpredictable, even if it seems like a nightmare. The external recognition will heal the pain for suspecting that what you achieved can be attributed to your physique. In some cases, nor the absence of those who took part in the most critical and enlightening moments of your life. But it seems to be just like a first sight. When you look back and realize all that really happened. The question is not what I've learned, but what I can't forget anywhere, because it's not another film you see abroad. You know, it wasn't enough to imagine that there are many possibilities. Different from what? Different from that where the young Matt Genius is a factory worker. It wasn't enough to imagine that there. It wasn't enough to imagine that there are many possibilities. Different from that, where the young Matt Genius is a factory worker, a local guy who knows the harshest reality of North American life, or the janitor that is suddenly discovered by an abnegated professor. You project that young guy on your 1-year-old son. No one discovers him, none of his talents. He remains incognito as a language teacher in a community center. He gets involved with, plans, loses himself. Could be a daily routine here, and almost by chance he started to tell the story of a Robert Tapper lady who would be the president. She would have the support of his brotherhood that revolutionized the production of shoes in jails, prisons, a whole new business, an artistic class.
Robert Thackway.
A person who works in the forest extracting the rubber resin that will be used to manufacture, among other things, car tires. They say they believe in recycling, in widespread processes of long-distance literacy, the strategic penetration in the suburbs.
Sorry, I'm not following you.
Well, that's okay. Don't blame yourself for that. Were you able to record it properly? I mean, the sound and all? That's okay. Don't blame yourself for that. Were you able to record it properly? I mean, the sound and all?